Hey everybody, it's me again, Vanessa. So we are actually moving on to our 6th chakra. Pretty amazing. And I'm excited about it because it's getting to that culmination of everything. Hey Candace. We have Jordan and Kristen on Zoom. People are gonna start joining, so I like that. So last week, anybody do their homework? Kristen, did you paint?
I sent you mine.
Oh, that's right. You did send me yours. Thank you. I forgot because I didn't post it yet. Thank you about that. Hey, Heidi.
You're welcome.
Yes, I forgot. Doesn't mean it wasn't good. It just means I forgot. So I did my homework too, and I will start posting mine. I just posted one of mine, but I actually really enjoy doing them, and I try to have a neighbor over. Hold on, Jordan, just mute yourself for a second. That's okay. So yeah, I try to have like a neighbor over, and we do some distance painting, and it's awesome because things just start to come out, and we'll start with one, and I am like, yeah, I don't really like this one, and I'll do another one, and then the first one becomes better, and I just keep changing back and forth. So it's a lot of fun to discover that. So tonight I'm kind of waiting like one more minute for somebody else to get on, but moving into the 6th chakra. So we just finished up with the throat, and that's located right over here. We talked a lot about the thyroid. And if you noticed, if you really did some work on the throat chakra this week, maybe you had some coughing going on that you're like, oh no, it's COVID. It's not COVID. Most likely it's just the throat chakra releasing. That happens basically immediately when I want to tell somebody like, we're going to do the throat chakra work. Hey, nay, nay. And then suddenly they're like, and they get something like stuck in their throat, and it feels like, oh, what the hell was that? It's just a clearing, and it happens really, really fast. That process, because intention, remember, is so strong. And I didn't bring any water down, so I sound like a frog in my throat. Anyway, so the colors last week, it was blue, but it was like a lighter blue, more turquoise, aquamarine, and kind of sky blue type colors. We're moving into indigo. So the indigo blue is borderline purplish at times too. So even though the last chakra is violet, this all kind of mixes together now. It's one of my favorite ones, actually. It's really, really pretty. And people generally see, in my experience, see a lot more of the purple when I go over the third eye than they do the dark blue. So, you know, I feel like it's both, because don't forget, because now we're here. We're right between the brows, which you'll hear it referred to as the brow chakra, or most people will really say third eye chakra, truly. The Sanskrit for is ajna, A-J-N-A, and but again, like I usually see more towards the light purple going up into it, which I think makes a lot of sense because just to fast forward, if you don't know, the last chakra is all about that divine connection, but this is all about seeing with the divine eye. So to me, it's all the same in that sense. So the throat chakra had so much to do with clear and concise communication, being heard, being understood. And now we're in this space where this chakra is awesome because it has no time. It transcends time. So immediately, where does that bring your thoughts to? You know, transcendence of time, it goes right into meditation. We talk about, you know, transcendental meditation and all those things where, you know, you're not focused on the time, you're focused on just being in the presence, right? And when you can get into that present moment, you can see very, very clearly. So I'll go into the community for a second. Hey peeps, how you doing? Good? I can't hear you.
Hi.
Hey, I love it. So if you can think for a moment, if there was a time where you like really felt like you really saw something, you knew something, and it was a knowing, because this is like not just a psychic knowing, it's just a spiritual knowing of something, or you saw it really, really clearly. I can ask the question differently too, but it's the knowing, right? And it's a clear knowing. And what this chakra asks us to do is to become witness. And you're thinking, So it also gives the gifts of self-reflection and contemplation, which is why a lot of times people kind of get stuck in the head because they're like way overthinking things. So when you start to do a body scan or an energy scan on a person, most people are really, really overactive here, and it's unbelievable, really. I mean, and that can cause headaches and lots of different things like that. Head pressure, sinus pressure, and just really uncomfortable. So as an empath, when I'm handling, situations where I feel so much over, just that excess happening, the first thing I'll do is treat the head. Actually, just really, really, for a few minutes, not as long as you think, I actually go to the feet first. So to treat the head, I have to go to the feet. Because why? What have we learned during this whole process with the chakras? That grounding energy is by that root chakra, right? And the root chakra is drawn into the ground by the feet. So to get the head, I have to draw all the energy down towards the feet. The other way to do that is to help the third eye physically calm down. So as a teenager, I didn't know what I was doing. I wasn't trained or anything like that. But I always noticed that when I would want to take a nap, sounds like buzzing. When I would want to take a nap, I would just automatically cover my head like that, which a lot of people do, and they don't realize what they're doing is they're actually covering the third eye. So physically, the third eye wants you to do that, and that's also because literally and physically in the brain you have the pineal gland, and the pineal gland is what controls your melatonin levels for sleep and wake cycles, right? And so that's your brow or your third eye chakra. Pretty interesting, right? So we have the spiritual version of it, but it's also very, very physical, and they go together. And your pineal gland is associated also with the pituitary, so they have a relationship going on too. So very, very important to allow the pineal gland to basically relax and work on that sleep cycle. So I kind of infamously tend to be staying up too long, too late, and things like that. I probably get away with it a little bit because I know how to meditate well, so that's kind of like a cheating thing in a sense, because I kind of, take my short meditation as a nap almost. So it's a cheat. I'm not saying I'm proud of it. I'm just saying that's what I do. So I get away with it. I'm not proud necessarily. It's just I've always been happier staying up later. And now it's more because I have children that I don't get to have my own time during the day. So that's it is. Some people also say it's like the way of the third eye, seeing everything from a point of view, like I said before, the witness or the observer, which is all about being present. So I don't necessarily hear that associated mostly with the third eye, the being present part, but the seeing is always part of it. So it's interesting to me, like that I was reading a little bit about that today, because it makes sense. If you're clearly seeing things in a spiritual manner, you will be automatically drawn to the present. And again, the best way to see this is nature, right? So everybody, right? What's the easiest way for you to feel grounded and present? Go outside. I can't hear you, Renee. I know what you're saying. Go outside, a garden. There you are. So immediately that draws you to the present time, and your senses become delighted and like tactile, and everything's filled up. You get scent going on, and sight and touching, and even auditory things, because you'll hear the breeze, you'll start to hear the birds and things like that. So all that is really, really important, and that really draws into the third eye too. So I keep saying, third eye. I keep wanting to say it differently. Anyway, so there is what some people would call some danger of opening the third eye. I don't like to say anything spiritual is dangerous, because it doesn't really ring true to me. What I would really most likely say is that when you open everything, like open one chakra, they all need to be balanced. So if you're only focusing on one chakra a lot, particularly this area, you are, you know, you could possibly become overactive with it. I have seen this in interesting ways, and Renee knows exactly what I'm talking about when I'm about to say this. You ever meet a psychic medium that seems to only have a really good connection with people that have passed? They have a more difficult time with people now. You know who I'm talking about, right? Yeah. So to me, and that serves a purpose, of course, but to me, that's an overreaction to it. It's like keeping it too widely open, and their boundaries are more in terms of connecting to the other side, so to speak, and instead of actually being present here, which is where that grounding is really, really important. Hey, Reese's. So that's an interesting thing. So that's more than just, oh, I have a headache from being so bogged down by thought. This is like, oh, I've opened up to this spiritual sight, this divinity, and now I don't know how to shut it off. I don't know how to maybe have a good relationship in this world, or connections are harder for me. So that's an interesting thing. I've never seen that written down. That's just my observing. Kristen, are you driving? Okay. I feel very loved that she's doing that. Just please be careful. So that's something interesting, because when you do start to open this area, you might start to see things. And I don't mean like you're hallucinating. I mean, most people will see it in terms of peripheral vision, where they'll start to see like little things happening in their side view. This is actually normal unless you're, well, I'll say it like this. You'll probably know when it's not normal, but if you have questions, you can ask me. But I've heard people even say, one person actually told me over the summer that she was pregnant and she was seeing a lot more things. And I said, yeah, because your hormones are different, and believe it or not, it actually affects your chakras as well. So they go hand in hand. Hey, Jan. But yeah, so you'll see a lot more in the peripheral vision. Sometimes you'll see little like specks or shadows or even lights happening. It's okay. If you start to get scared, then start to go back to the other chakras, which means the grounding, particularly the root chakra, and then just go through all the levels and then go back to this. A great tool, which I'm not going to do tonight, but I will show you one night, is a pendulum. Pendulums are used for many things. They're used for dowsing, meaning like you can ask questions with them. If you've never seen a pendulum before, it's usually just a chain. Now I've done necklaces, but you can basically use anything that's weighted. But now you'll see a chain and some sort of gemstone. My favorites to use are like carnelian. I love my citrine one, things like that, but it doesn't have to be anything specific. It just gives it added energy. But the pendulum for going over the chakras is a great tool, because it shows you where the stagnations are more definitively if you don't have that sense in your fingers for energy-wise. But it also gives you a sense of how fast things are going. So say the third eye area is open, which on a lot of people it actually is. You wouldn't think maybe it'd be close, but truthfully, it's the usual problem is that it's overreacting. So it's not just like this healthy 4 to 6. It goes like really, really wide and really, really fast, and it's spinning. And if you ask that person, they'll probably describe that their head kind of feels like that. Oh my gosh, my head is all over the place. It's like, right? That's what usually people say. It's all over the place, and I can't focus on anything, and I can't concentrate, and I feel like freaked out. It's because it's so much happening. So it's different than the other chakras in that sense, because usually you would see a stagnation as a very, very tiny circle going clockwise, or a going the complete opposite direction, or it would go like diagonally where it's like more just closed. So this is all different stuff. Hey Megan, hey Liz. So that's something to be aware of. And also because in meditations we focus so much on opening the brow, the third eye chakra, I want you to be not wary, but just aware of how, if you're having some symptoms, if you're having like headaches, a big fullness, racing thoughts, just things like that. I'm sure I can think of a few more too. I want you to be aware of it because you need to be understanding that, okay, I need to ground as well. It's not enough to just focus on this one area. It's also very useful to actually focus on calming it down. So remember how I said like going like this is a natural way of relaxing and starting to calm down. In yoga classes, unfortunately maybe not now anymore, you'll have to bring your own, but eye pillows, that's the reason we use eye pillows. It's not just to keep your eyes closed, it's actually to relax this area so that the brain thinks it's time for rest, and that's why you're affecting the pineal gland, because the melatonin the cycle starts to happen. So it's all, can be explained by science, believe it or not. So this chakra also means like to perceive. I've read command. I don't really know what that means by that. I'll have to think about that one. This is all the elements combined into light. And now we're starting to go into what we normally hear, Om. A-U-M, it starts A-Om, right? Or O-M. And Om is the accumulation, it's that sound, the universal sound of everything together. And what else? You'll also feel connection in the base of the skull. So again, the throat chakra as well, but it's the base of the skull because it goes directly up towards the pituitary pineal gland into the brow area. And the incense, just because this is a funny one, is mugwort. So if you're a Harry Potter fan, there is an actual, what's that? Yeah, right. So in Harry Potter, they talk about mugwort all the time. And then in Chinese medicine, acupuncture, moxibustion, or, like when you get the heat seeds and all that stuff, that's mugwort. So I love that. Third eye chakra affirmations, and I'll just give you a couple of them because this is going more into the divine. So we'll use it in our meditation, but I like one of my favorites is, I am the source of truth and my love. So notice how the love is coming from the heart and the truth is coming from the throat. And now you're culminating all up into here. I am the source of my truth and my love. I forgive the past and learn what is there for me to learn. So this is actually a lot about forgiveness, acceptance. You're moving up from the upper three up into here, so that you can go to the divine. And the only way to heal into the divine is to start to release things. We never say you move, people say like let it go, like that. You don't just let things go, you understand them, you bring understanding to the lesson, you bring love to the lesson. Like you don't want to go back. Like I don't want to go back to high school. I don't want to go back to high school. For me, it wasn't what it could have been. But I learned a lot. And those lessons have brought me into where I am and that greatness that I'm, becoming more and more of every day. So I have to forgive. I have to forgive other people, and I have to forgive myself, particularly for not letting myself heal in the ways that I could have healed faster. So that happens. And again, we're going from that lighter blue into the indigo blue, purple. So it's still very like a watery feeling in a sense, but it's going more into light now. So remember last week in the meditation, we did like the aurora borealis was the vision, and I'm not quite sure what the meditation is going to be in a few minutes. We'll find out, because sometimes I don't know. So you're going to start focusing on your breath. I'll start slowing down my words. And I want to check on one more thing. Okay. So. Some questions to ask are like, where in my life have I needed to be seen? Right? Maybe you're experiencing some of that right now where you don't feel seen. Some people will start to say, I feel forgotten, but you don't feel seen is more of a maybe not understood, or I don't feel like people see me without me explaining myself, or just even acknowledged. I don't feel seen. So we have to go for that opposite. We want to feel seen, right? Other things to kind of reflect on are, when have I not seen myself? So that goes into the truths of the throat chakra, speaking your truth, being authentic. You know, when you see, I keep messing up this quote, when you think what you see and what you say, I'm messing it up again, are all in alignment, then like that's happiness, right? So when everything you say, do, and think work together, that's you. So where have you not been authentic with yourself? Going back to community. Hello, peoples. Hey. So did you get to do any color addition to your wardrobe this week? Oh, come on, guys. What color is that? Is it blue? Okay, but you have to focus on it. That's part of the homework. It's not just the art. You actually have to focus. Blues and greens. I love it. Very good. So Kristen coordinated her mask. It was blue. And the water bottle. Good. So all these things. So I'm going to remind you guys, it's not just about the art for the homework. What you're eating, what you're putting on your body. What?
I did last week. I realized.
Okay, so just try to remember.
When I was like, oh, you know,
This is the color. Good. Okay, so that's what I want you to do.
She told me I had to wear yellow when I owned nothing yellow.
Yeah, well, that happens. So just be prepared because next week is going to be more purple, right? And then after that, it's basically rainbow. So get ready for it. So just prep for now. I am very funny. You just don't see it. Okay. So I hope you're getting comfortable, right? Good. I could feel it. Where shall we go tonight? Oh, I know. It's so easy. Why don't we go to the water? What do you think? Okay. So remember, the seed sound for this was Om. So my voice is always tired of this hour, but I want you to start doing that little hum right now. You guys can mute yourselves, start getting into darkness. So a little hint for this is you have to have that space in the mouth, and there's a hum in the nasal passages. So open. And should tickle. So that's actually the end of the Om, and the beginning of it is more like an Ah. And then as you practice this, it's not going to be so split into threes. It's going to be more of a just Om, like you're chewing, like Om. But at the beginning of it, you want to really start to feel the open mouth, Ah, Oh, and that tickle. So I know I look silly. It's okay. So I want you to start just doing your little hums like that. And when you get that buzz in the sinus passageways, you're going to start to feel it appear. Now, in the past weeks, we've gone over, we did alternate nostril, Nadi Shodhana, which is helpful for the third eye. And we did Brahmari, which is the buzzing sound that also goes into this. And I can post some things helpful along the way too. But tonight, all I want you to do is to first bring your thumb right to the third eye. So if you're lying down already, you can do this too. And start to do that Om all the way up. And this is going to bring the focus right into the third eye. And you're going to feel the buzz right there too. A little stimulation right there. And you may notice that I'm kind of naturally going to a higher note. That's because we're in the higher frequencies. It doesn't necessarily matter unless you're purposely focusing on the notes and trying to change into that pitch. But for me, for meditation, I don't do that unless I'm like using the notes specifically like that. But it's kind of whatever you're comfortable with at this point. And you can play with it too. And you'll start to feel more of a buzz maybe. But that also depends on your level of experience with making sounds and singing and things like that. So I don't want you to be stressed out. I want you to really just focus on releasing and feeling, exploring the buzz going on there. Good. So work with that as I set up the music. So as you allow your body to begin the receiving of all this energy and all this love, you know, it takes a lot sometimes to show up for scheduled times for meditations, and if you're not watching this live, don't worry about that. But if you are, I just want to give you a nice pat on the back, because I know it's not always easy to show up. And if you press play and it's not live, you also get an A+, because you're showing up again in a different way. So you're still making that Om sound, fingertips resting at the brow area, feeling the buzz right there. So you'll do 2 more breaths like that, focusing on the Om and the high buzz into the forehead. And after you release that, you'll retain the breath. So I'm going to take a nice deep breath on the last one, all the way into the whole body, feeling the whole body become fuller and fuller. And then at its pinnacle, at its fullest, you'll allow the big release, deep exhale. Do 1 more of those. Inhale, full up into the third eye. Exhale. And you may feel that heat building just from the sound and the breath, building up the prana. It's beautiful. So now you have some softness going on around the face, warming into the sinuses, which, by the way, is excellent for your immune system and clearing out anything that does not need to be there. So everything you're doing is excellent work. And tonight we're working on that seeing, that mental clarity that brings you beyond the mind and all of its so-called desires and things that we long for, our worries, our fears, our judgment. It's bringing us further than that, way past that. So tonight you're transcending all the material stuff, all the stuff that weighs you down, and you're going to take flight into this grand place of hope and clarity and pure beauty. So now you're welcome to release the Oms, release the breath, and go back into a simple, long pattern breathing. And what's more perfect to get all the blues together than to bring the sky and the water into our meditation tonight? So you're going to find yourself on the most beautiful beach you can think of. We've been to the beach before, but every time it's a little different. Tonight's beach is white powdery sand. I'm sure I said powdered sand in the last one, but this one's like a pure white. And you're immediately going to go towards that water. We're not wasting any time tonight. And you're focusing first on the feet. Remember, we begin by grounding. And as each foot goes into the soft, soft sand, allow the weight of your human form to just go into all its glory. Let the heel sink down, that arch get covered in this powder, and the toes explore how that water feels, that little shock of coolness as it comes into the feet and that feeling of the body. And this perception is also going to shift everything. So as the mind was racing a bit, it's already beginning to slow down. You see, our bodies, our minds are looking for information all the time. And they're also looking for a release. They're looking for something to alleviate anything that's excess, or vice versa, something to help us get out of the stagnation. So your body wants this, and your spirit wants it even more. So allow it to come full circle, stepping again closer into the water. And as you look down towards your little toes, I want you to see tiny, tiny, tiny little fish. Maybe they're little minnows swimming and darting all over the place. Maybe you get tickled. And here you take a deep, deep breath again, allowing and rewarding the body. And then take note of the water itself. This is the clearest, bluest, most beautiful water you've ever seen. And take notice of the surf. Are there a lot of waves, a lot of activity? Is it pretty quiet in between? There is no judgment here. You're only bearing witness to beauty. Nothing else to do. And so you invite your senses to be completely entrenched with beauty. And now you're going to start to explore the water a little further. Coming up to your knees, bending down and touch your toes with your fingers. Allow the feeling to go all throughout your whole body. And then notice your breath again. Notice the calm. Draw your attention to a soft wave, one that's calmer. And notice how it builds up. It builds up, and then it slowly slopes up. It comes into fruition, and then it just crashes and begins to retreat again. Notice this cycle, this awesome cycle that the moon's pull is allowing us to enjoy. It never stops. If you think about that, the waves, the water, they never stop. They don't go to sleep. They don't take a break. They just keep flowing and crashing, building and crashing, and then coming back for more. So now you're going to walk deeper into the water, and you're going to go as far as you want to. So this is the great part where you get to explore your own world. You're going to find what you're comfortable in, and you're going to allow any waves that want to come your way to come. So if you want to get crashed into water, if you want to have to jump over it or float, you have a choice here. You always do. And allow your body to fully do whatever your choice is. So if you've chosen to jump over waves or be crashed over by them or float around, fully immerse yourself. take note of what it feels like to really invest in one activity. So any of those three that you've chosen, if you're still jumping around and you're floating or you're crashing into the waves, feel what it's like to allow that to happen. Can you notice how your body is so excited by being allowed to focus on one thing? Notice your breathing in your imagery and notice your breathing in your body right now. You're doing such a great job. You're doing such a great job that it's time to look up into the sky. You feel drawn to the sky. You feel like you're going to get some information there. And anything in your life that has been needing some clarity, this is the time to allow that situation to kind of float above your head in the sky and get your answers. So what the universe loves to do for us is when we're asked, when we ask, we shall receive. And sometimes we forget to ask out loud. So this is the time to start to say it out loud in your mind first, and then later on you'll say it again. You'll look up into that really, really blue sky with all the happy, fluffy clouds. And you'll make an offering of letting go and releasing the worry, of letting go and releasing the overthinking. And anything that doesn't serve you is going to be released. Deepen the breath, and now blow it up into the sky. And notice how the clouds react to your offering. They are not angry. They are quite happy to help you fulfill this purpose. They're going to clear everything out. And if you've noticed anything change in your environment, if it got cloudy for a moment or the color started to change or fade, then offer more love. Deepen the breath again and say, please, love, take this away. And the third eye responds. It gives you clarity because it starts to connect to divine as well. So there's no push for this. It just starts to happen naturally. And as you ask for this type of sight, you will also receive the beauty of being seen for who you are and your complete authenticity. Go back into the body and the water, feeling how your body responds to this freeness, this weightlessness, how your body responds to being in this beautiful, beautiful water. Remember, it's so clear you can see any fish around you, any life. And your offering is your glowing self, because the more you're releasing and the more you let things wash out, this beautiful symbiotic relationship begins all over again. And we're slowing down all the extras. Everything will get resolved. It always does. Your mind is so much more useful when it's clear and organized, right? And it's also much more useful when you feel like yourself. So working hard every day to release anything excess and to fill up with the most beautiful light and love. It's not a saying, it's a real thing. So the third eye responds with this lightness in the head, relief of pressure. And the head starts to relieve the shoulders. And the shoulders begin to relieve the arms and the back. Then the back and the hips and the legs, lower legs, ankles, feet, toes. All releasing from this center point, this weighted area, but now it's getting lighter and lighter as your thoughts lighten up. So feel what it's like to not only be in the water, and now I'm going to ask you to actually float in this ocean. There's a level of trust that has to happen when you choose to float in water, right? A level of awareness. But it's so easy because we know what we're doing, we know what we want, right? We have to trust that our bodies can float, and we know this because we've seen others do it. We have to trust that we know how to do it, and that nothing else is coming for us. But you can do it, and you know you can. So here you are, floating in this water. Almost feels in this sense that you're barely breaking the surface tension, just enough to have full support. And allow your fingertips and your arms to explore the water, bringing your fingers over and over the surface. And because we're in the ocean, you're going to get that gentle push. You're behind the breaks in the wave, but you're going to get that swell come up underneath you, and then that release. So stay here for a few more moments. And now, in addition to hearing the ocean around you, you'll start to add that Om back into your body. One more deep breath as you float here. And you'll very, very softly allow the feet to come back into the ocean, into the water, and then onto the sand. And as you start to walk out of the water, you'll allow the earth to take on that weight. But your rest of your being will feel very light and very complete. And in this place is where we can be seen, where we can be felt, understood, and have mental lightness and clarity. And your creativity that comes from the throat chakra into the third eye will now really take on a lightness that wasn't necessarily there before, because the divine inspiration will take you higher and higher. So relish in this moment. Give yourself another few really, really deep breaths.
Welcome to the meditation for global healing.
And now on the next exhale, you'll bring your middle finger to the third eye area one more time. A light touch here, and you might feel your pulse. Connecting one last time directly here. And then on the next exhale, bringing the palm down across the body as if you're pushing all the energy down towards your feet. So you can do that a couple of times. You might actually feel the energy go downwards. And then just see your feet in the sand. So we bring all the energy down so we don't become overactive, and that we can keep that calmness and that steadiness. And that, my friends, is the introduction to the third Ajna chakra. And my hands will come to the heart. You can rest wherever you are. So to continue with the chakra homework, the homework again is now focusing more on this dark indigo to purplish color. Looking up the chakra itself, looking at the words, writing the words with it, writing about anything that comes up as you do your artwork, and also introducing these colors purposely into your wardrobe, into your food, and always using nature to help you not just cope, but help you thrive. So it is my pleasure to be serving. I'm very, very happy and proud of everybody that joins us, and I hope that it keeps growing and keeps moving on. So touch base with me anytime you want, but for now that's where we're at, and I'll start another live video just to chat for a few after this, okay? Namaste.